DJ Rap playing a brand new tune, so check it out.
Okay, thank you, DJ Rap, for coming on. Try and be quick as possible. I know you've had a busy day. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, because we're Well Raver, and we're in the Southwest, and yeah, we'll just crack on, shall we? Okay, first, I'm going to do a little warm up. You got 30 seconds, little clock here. You got 30 seconds to say as many words associated with rave as possible. So we'll start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh God, happy, dancing, music, love, community, joy, lasers, lights, drum and bass, jungle, classics, friends, muddy fields, cows, glow sticks, chocolate cornettos, ramen noodles, being absolutely broke, DJ, music, funky jewelry. Is that enough?
Okay, stop. Yeah, that's 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, 40. I think I counted 10, 20, 30 actually. So yeah, basically that's the standard. So if we interview other people, then they'll have to beat that score. Okay, so
that's cool. That's
right.
cool.
Okay, so basically, yes, I just wanted to say about last time. I think I saw the Raw interview in November. Basically, I think you just released, what was it, Roller Coaster?
Right, okay, yeah.
So what have you been up to, like, basically since then?
Well, gosh, it's been really intense because I've moved to a new distribution company. So for the first time ever, all my records, I think from maybe July, actually maybe the end of this month or something, will be available in every store, because so far my whole catalogue it's been sort of bitty everywhere. So that's been a massive move, because it's been about, if you think I've had about 600-700 releases and there's just loads of tracks, so it's uploading all the metadata and just switching over from distribution companies. So that's taken up a whole chunk, but that's just on the back end. But I'm really excited about that, because it means, it's a whole new label relaunch and stuff like that. Obviously, I've got new tracks coming. We had the Divine Rhythm trilogy that came out with Dope Ammo over the spring, which was great. So that was just released and done. The vinyl's coming for that soon, so I'm waiting for that, but it's taking forever because of Brexit. I've got a new single coming out July 15th with Exile called Never Again, which I'm really excited about. I've been working super hard on Patreon and just building that community within that, and that's going really, really well. And so just busy, like keeping my Patreon fans and community happy and staying in touch with all of them, because that's the important thing that eats up most of my day, and that's where all my focus and energy is, because that requires like a lot of love and care and attention. So just making sure to do that, much of that as possible, and running the label and doing all the artwork and all the video stuff. I mean, it's an intense work day for me pretty much every day. So today, for example, I'm getting ready. I'm going to go to rehearsals after this for my VIP concert, which is an acoustic piano concert. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I checked your website out today. Yeah, actually, I saw the release. What was it? The remix of? Oh, it's gone now. The Divine Rhythm trilogy.
Yeah, there was 3 singles that came out.
A couple of drum and bass ones and a jungle one.
Yeah, so basically we did, 3 different, it's a trilogy series. So it's a collector's, it's a trilogy series. So basically we had, the DJ sort of mix, a more piano liquidy mix, and then we've had the ravers sort of mix. So hopefully we've catered for something for everybody's taste. And then the vinyl will come out, which is obviously got the classic on it and the originals and all of that and remixes. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think some DJs that play for Well Raver, that they'll quite, they'll be very interested in that actually.
Yeah. And we wanted to do something a little bit different, like a trilogy series, rather than just singles and singles. And there were so many ways to go with this remix. We were like, oh, we've got too many good ideas. Or let's just split it up into a few different versions. So yeah.
Okay. I like the Euphoria one. I quite like that one.
That's actually my favorite, but I think people like either the ravers mix or the original one first, because that seemed to do very well. But I'm more about like pianos and the emotional side of that. But
I guess I'm more on that. I've got a Night Force t-shirt. I like that. But I'm more into the hardcore sort of melodies, but also I like the drum and bass and jungle as well. I like the newly produced jungle. Are you doing more sort of newly produced jungle?
Yeah, well, if you look at tracks like Roller Coaster, I Like This, and things like that, they're a bit more modern sounding. I think the direction that I'm going in now, you know, especially after lockdown, is just making as much emotional music as possible. But then when that bass comes in, it's quite fierce, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in still keeping those jungle elements. But I am very much in love with that sort of liquid sound
Yeah.
meets tougher sort of bass line.
Oh
You know?
yeah, yeah. I found out about liquid sound a few years ago, just when I started sort of DJing myself, and it's a nice sound, isn't it? You get a lot
I mean,
of fusion
you
going.
know,
Yeah.
I'm really into artists like Blade Runner and producers like Blade Runner and Dimension, and I just think that you know, there's so many great artists out there who are producing music that's emotional, really good, but when it hits on the dance floor, it still hits, and I love that, you know. So I'm yeah, that's sort of where I'm leaning at the moment. It changes constantly.
Oh, wicked, wicked. How's your dog, Fema?
Kima.
Kima, sorry, Kima, sorry.
Come here, Kimmy.
What's Kima doing?
She's sitting here right now, wishing that I would take her out for a walk, but
Right.
it's raining outside. She's the drum and bass jungle girl, aren't you, honey? Yeah.
Is that the Kima? Was that related to anything, or did you anything?
No, well, Kima's named after a synth. So
Okay.
one of the first synths that was ever made was a Kima. So yeah, she's named after that. So.
Okay, nice. And we're just going to go on to the well-being stuff in a sec. I know you're busy, try and crack on it. But can I just see, on Raw, you were saying you lived in LA for a while. How long was that for, and kind of what sort of things were you doing there? I'm just summarised.
Well, I just basically moved to LA when I got my record deal with Sony, and they basically asked me if I would be interested in moving over to America because they felt that the record learning curve, which was the record.
Oh yeah, that was good. I listened to that today. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that basically they you know, everybody at Sony felt that was going to be a very big record, and it did. It turned out to be, you know, triple platinum, and that's great. But you sort of have to be there if you want to do the work, because there's an awful lot of work with marketing, promoting, all that stuff. So they were like, would you be, you know, open to moving here? And I was like, you know, what's not to like, son? So the sunshine.
Why not? Better than today.
Yeah, and a whole new world being opened up to you. I think we have to grab those opportunities when they're presented to us. You can always go backwards. So yeah. That's it, 20 years of my life there.
20 years? I was going to say, I thought it might have been after 2011 when things went a bit quiet. It's actually longer than that. Okay, so...
Yeah, no, I was there for 20 years, and then in this October I'll have been back here for 2 years. But, you know, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I like to keep things moving, and we'll see. You know, right now it's been very difficult because of lockdown. I've not been able to, you know, obviously explore where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do, and we'll see. But so that's all to come. It's a whole new...
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for that. And the reason you came back, it might have been to do with lockdown, I'm guessing, or?
No, I came back because there was just so much, you know, I had taken 10 years off from drum and bass, and it doesn't mean I wasn't doing any music. I was still doing music very actively, but working on more sync, film, TV, that kind of stuff. And that's how I actually make my living, not on gigs. So, you know, basically just interested in writing music and doing pop songs and different things and writing for other people. So that is a big part of what I do. And, you know, but then I sort of got, you know, I still speak to people in the drum and bass scene, and Fabio and people like that were telling me how, you know, how things were popping off here, how it was really big, how people were just making that jungle sound, but with a modern twist. And, you know, that probably proper talent would do very well if I came back. And it was just a thing that I started to come back over here just to meet up with people, rave, have a bit of fun. And then I sort of fell back in love with it. And then I just got, just when you think you're out, you get sucked back in. So yeah, I really just wanted to give it another go. And I'm really glad I did, because it turns out there's a lot of love for the label and what I'm doing. And, you know, so yeah, I decided to come back because I had all these gigs lined up and everything was amazing. And I came back, and then lockdown happened 2 months later, and I, like everybody else, and the nightclub scene got wiped out without any regard whatsoever.
Yeah, we basically put 4 raves on, and we just found a perfect venue, and it just like all like, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, so I basically moved back to spend 2 years under house arrest, which was difficult to get my head around after how much effort and money it cost to move here. But then, you know, every cloud has a silver lining, and I thought, you know, rather than sit and mope about it, that's when I started Patreon. So, you know, it's actually been a godsend in a way, and really cool, because not only did it helped me financially because, you know, that's taken off and done really well.
Mm.
But more importantly, I built a community, not just for them, but for me. You know, we have mental health talks. We do all kinds of stuff on here that I don't advertise, and it's become a place where I've made intensely deep friendships, and you know, just amazing. And so yeah, it's actually all is not lost. You can turn dust into gold if you just put a spin on it.
Absolutely. It's funny you say that, because we had luckily, like I had a website with like 300 people on it, but actually I managed to develop that website. It's quite lucky I had that on there, sort of keep me going a little bit actually.
Yeah,
but,
it does.
I mean, what you're doing is amazing. I might try and sort of like join in maybe after this. Just moving on to the, sorry, please.
I was going to say, if you do things just for yourself, they become boring. But if you put the onus on other people and you put the attention on other people, then often the problems you have for yourself sort of, they get taken care of because your attention isn't in your head and on you all the time. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, moving on to well-being stuff. I noticed in the Raw, you said something about intense therapy. Is it okay to sort of elaborate on that? And
yeah, but I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'm not in therapy.
Oh, no.
I've had intense therapy in my life, but I think everybody should have therapy at some point. I think it's a good thing to go through, because we're all sort of, you know, toddling around unaware, and there's very few people that actually do the work to really be you know, to take an introspective view and see what's going on inside underneath the subconscious. And you know, there's so, you know, many people that don't know how to heal themselves and what to do, and I was one of them. And so for me, I've been on a lifelong journey that I think will never end, to find ways to become higher versions of myself, to find ways to relax, to find ways to not get so stressed out, to find ways to eat better, to find ways to exercise. So I've spent a lifetime working on myself since I got sober, which was in my 40s, and you know, and trying to do I find a different way that would work for me, and a lot of that is self-realization work. And yeah, I did have a lot of therapy with a wonderful therapist for years, and she changed my life, and it was just the beginning of my journey. But it definitely helped. Look, therapy isn't easy, you know, but it is and the best way I can describe it is, when I asked her what was the point of therapy, when you know, we first had one of our many conversations, I was like, you know, I don't really, this was in the early stages of therapy, and I was just sort of like, you know, I don't really, what's the point of this? And she was like, well, because you know how you said to me, sometimes you'll be driving around in your car and you'll just be inexplicably just burst into tears and not know why you're crying. She goes, well, once you've had therapy, you'll still drive around in your car and sometimes cry, but you'll know why.
Yeah.
I thought that was really brilliant, because it's true. It doesn't solve your problems, but it helps you understand how you got to these places and what's
exactly.
what's happening.
With my hypnotherapy, I started it 4 years ago, and I just didn't realise why all this stuff was happening. So it is incredible to sort of understand.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning of it. I mean, you don't have all the answers, and the whole point of therapy is for you to learn how to answer your own questions, right? So you know, you don't go to a therapist and they don't give you all the answers. You have to figure it out. So but they will guide you and ask the right questions so that you start to see and have realizations. You know, it's important.
Okay. Was that before or after you should have got into religion, started following God? Was that about the same time?
Well, again, I think a sweeping generalization there about getting into religion. I'm not into religion. I don't believe in organized religion. Let's just get that on the table now. You know, I've been Catholic, and then when I was in LA, yes, I changed to Christianity, and I started to, but you know what, after doing all of this stuff, I believe in a higher force. I believe when I go out for a walk and I see beautiful trees and nature, I believe in energy. I believe in, you know, meditation. I believe in spirituality. I believe in God. Do I believe in organized religion? No. So I don't. And that is because, you know, I've just seen too many things that make me go, you know, it's difficult to say. But I know this. I know that when I go for a walk and I ask for help and I pray, it works. But I do not like overzealous people telling me how I should live my life. And I don't think that's the way to go for me. You know, I don't believe in religion that is against gays or what you should do with your body or blah, blah, blah. That's not for me.
Okay.
That's for you, and that's fine. That's your beliefs. I'm not going to step on anyone else's beliefs and say, I don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe in Catholicism, or I don't believe in, you know, Buddhism, or I don't believe in. I think there's truth in every single one of them. But I think that that voice inside you telling you what to do, your conscience, it's all, there is God inside each and every one of us. But it could be in the form of Buddhism for some people. It could be in the form of, you know, spirituality. I think it's an extremely egotistical point of view to say this religion has all the answers and everyone else is wrong.
Because it's really interesting. I've been talking of, I'll name it, a guy called Richard Cummings, a good friend. He's religious, he's a Christian. When I've been developing sort of my well-being technique, saying like always think of nice things about people and things and to be positive, he kind of relates that directly to sort of Christianity. It's just kind of like a question I just thought I'd throw in there.
And I think it's a great question. But the thing is I've met so many amazing Christians, and then I've met Christians that just drive me mad. Within 5 minutes of speaking to them, they're yelling at me about the scriptures, and I'm like, look, man, chill. You know, you don't need to tell me how to be a good person. You know, I know how to be a good person. And I think we all know innately what we need to do to be a good person. You know, it's like treat others as you want to be treated. After all, that's, you know, if you believe in Jesus Christ, that's what he did. You know, don't be an, well, I'm not going to swear on here, but don't be an idiot.
It's all right, we don't mind.
Well, just don't be a prick. You know,
don't be a prick. Absolutely.
Just try to be a good person and try to be nice, and don't say mean things. If you've got nothing nice to say, then don't say anything. There's no one needs your opinion unless, you know, just try to, you know what, I don't understand trolls, and I don't understand people who throw their garbage on the street, and I don't understand people who are mean to each other unnecessarily. It's like, we all have opinions. I think Christianity is great. I think the Catholic, there's greatness in all of these religions, but having tried them, what ends up being the best path for me is I know I'm not alone and I believe in God, but that's my personal, it's inside me. I hear it. I don't need necessarily to be in a church to prove that I believe in God. I don't. For me, the best thing that I've learned is meditation. When I go for a walk and I just talk to God, or I just say, look, I'm struggling. I'll give you an example. The other day, I was really struggling. I had a bad weekend, and I went for a walk, and I go for hour-long walks in the morning early with my dog, because I think to be grounded in nature before you start doing emails and all this stuff is really important. And then I train later in the day for an hour and a half doing heavy weights. But in this walk, I just was like, just help me. I'm struggling. You know, I need to handle things better. So could you just help me out so that I don't make stressful situations even more stressful for myself by not handling them in the way that would elevate me and de-stress the situation.
Absolutely.
That morning, and it suddenly came to me as I was on my walk, because every prayer you ask for is answered, as far as I'm concerned. I just started saying good morning to people. Just, hello, good morning. And instantly, I started to feel better. I started to just feel like I was making other people smile. Then I went to the doctors because I've got some eczema just developing, and I needed some cream for that. And the doctor spent like half an hour talking, like, he's like, how are you? And I was like, well, you know, if you really want to know, I'll tell you. And we were talking about lockdown and the effects of it and all this stuff. And, you know, he spent half an hour with me and talked to me about, you know, meditation and yoga and different things. And I just said, it's so funny. I was on a walk this morning and I asked for help, and here I am getting help. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
you
that is actually.
It's like, you know, ask and you shall receive. I mean, it doesn't work if you're asking for the lottery, but what might, you know, what works is like, help me, you know, if you're going through a breakup, or if you're going through some kind of transformation and you don't know where you are in your business, or you're looking for tools to help, I guarantee you, every time I've asked for help when I've been in tough situations, I've always managed to get it, because I am trying to always be the best person I can be. Now, some days I utterly fail, and I am just not a great person, and I'm not a great version of myself, but I always know that, and I always feel crap about that, and I always try to not let that continue. So if there's days where I have maybe not been as kind to someone as I could have been, or I've lashed out myself because I feel unfairly judged or whatever, you know, you have to own that. And you have to say, look, I was kind of shit. So are you going to continue with that? Or are you going to try to apologize and then forgive yourself and move on and do better the next day? It's important to acknowledge your behaviors and acknowledge what you do and see that you've done that, and also not spend hours dwelling on it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Would meditation help? Say if you have had someone has video that's made a nasty comment, would that help sort of meditation sort of to detach from it and then sort of
Look, we're all human. If someone makes a nasty comment, I want to reply back a nasty thing, but I don't. Why? Because I'd like to consider myself more elevated than that.
Yeah.
But we're all human. One, I don't read my own comments, so they're spouting off into thin air because I don't read them. Because one, I don't need validation from someone who has not walked in my shoes or done what I've done. You know, it's nice to get lovely comments, and I see, you know, I'll skip through a few and I'll see them, and that's nice, but I don't put a lot of time in reading comments because I'm just doing me, right? And I don't need to know necessarily what everybody thinks, you know, because what does it matter what I think about you? It's just an opinion. It's like an arsehole. Everyone's got one.
Because I found that I do meditation every day, sort of deep trance meditation on YouTube, and I found that it does allow you to detach sort of the emotions from things, and I found that it's helped me a lot in terms of if I was like putting a rave on, it might get like really stressful, and I'm like, in the past I might have just I'm not doing it, but actually the meditation just it calms down a little bit, doesn't it?
I think we have to accept that if we're in a sort of public, in a sense, we're going to have to accept that we're going to get comments and things like that, and that's just part of it. At the end of the day, if someone leaves a nasty comment, I just remove it or block it. I don't care.
Yeah, we just block people straight away. So
I'm much more affected if people say something about my friends. That's when I get really upset. But you know, when it's directed at me, I'm made more of Teflon. I'm used to this. I've been in the industry 40 years. I'm, you know, sort of, whatever. But I think my meditation is more about how am I more productive, because comments is the least. It doesn't take up any space in my RAM, so that doesn't bother me at all. What bothers me is how am I productive at work? What's the most I can do? How can I stop myself getting stressed out if stressful situations happen? So I have a routine that I stick to and I don't break for anyone. And that routine is to get up early. I don't jump out of bed. I spend time visualizing my day in bed. You know, I like to watch people that I think are interesting. Like I'll watch some Russell Brand, or I'll watch different interviews and things that are going on with what's going on with science and things like that. I find that interesting. I'll watch motivational speeches. I'll watch Tony Robbins. I'll watch a bit of Oprah. I like to spend my mornings doing that. I go out for a walk that's an hour long, like I said. That helps the dog, that helps me. And then I come home and I start emails. So that I'll start probably around, 9 o'clock, I'll start my emails, blah, blah, blah. So I've done all this before that. And then I break at 12 o'clock. 11:30, I have a massive, not massive, but a good breakfast. And then I go train with my trainer till 2 o'clock. And that's a heavy session. And that again resets me again. And then I'll come home, make lunch. And then basically I will sit down and I will work till sometimes 1 in the morning. And then I will stop and repeat, start again.
Do you do like martial arts, or do you look martial arts, or you just sort of gym work?
The workouts change continuously. I've done lots of martial arts in my life. I've done a hell of a lot of boxing. As I've got older, and as women, as we start to get into our 50s and blah, 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 we lose a lot of muscle tone. So for me, it's more weights. I'm very weights focused right now and not cardio at all. Mind you, the cardio comes with the weight workout. So I'm lifting extremely heavy weights. and I'm ripped. So it's like, you know, that's what I'm doing. So for me, it's about maintaining muscle mass, not losing that muscle, and focusing more on weights and of course, clean diet and alcohol. You know, I very, very, very rarely drink. I don't like how it makes me feel. It gives me instant migraine. So I do unfortunately live a very boring.
No, actually, I gave up drinking a few years ago. So I found like I got low mood the next day. Even if I had like one drink, I just feel low the next day. And I just thought, what's the point of that? There's no point, you know.
I will be 53 in December, and I can tell you now that I do not want to be drinking and looking. It dries out your skin. It's not good for you. Like smoking, you end up with lines everywhere. And all, you know, I've had these bad habits. Well, smoking, I've only ever smoked when I used to smoke weed back in the day, like 30 years ago. But, you know, since then I haven't done it. But drinking, you know, it's a thing that I've only really given up like the last couple of years on and off. And now it's like sort of since lockdown, it's been off. I've definitely not done it. And that's been good. I just wanted to lean into the fitness and food. I've always been a clean eater, and that's good. So, yeah.
Can I just ask, how long have we got? I know you're busy. Have you got sort of 10, 15 minutes to throw some questions?
Go ahead and ask your questions.
Yeah. Okay, just one thing for the questions. The intense therapy, is that alternative?
Say that the intense
therapy you had, I know it's not all about the therapy we're talking about today, but was it kind of alternative therapies? Or?
No, it was in a classic sense, go see a counsellor, and it was free. And it was, you know, it was a lovely woman called
behavioural kind of things.
Professional, like, you know, go to somebody's place, sit down, talk to them, box of tissue sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was an alternative, although I've been thinking about that lately. Is it the CBC stuff?
The thing I was doing was hypnotherapy, but I have had CBT actually, but I found the therapy was a lot more useful. It attacks it from like the ground, and the CBT is more acting on the symptoms. And CBT did help, but I found that hypnotherapy is just the day I after had my first hypnotherapy session, I had a massive emotional dream that I was hugging my late grandfather, and I sort of woke up and it's like, holy fucking shit, you know, so powerful, you know. It's almost like
it does unlock layers and layers and layers, and you start to understand. But yeah, no, I haven't tried any alternate therapies. But to be fair with you, like I feel that my therapy is in everything that I'm doing. You know, like yesterday, for example, we had a mental health Zoom hang with everybody in Patreon, and I do these, and it's a safe space that we've got for people who just feel they need to share, me included. And we'll talk about what's bothering us, and then people will provide links and things like that. And it's just a safe space. And then we do fun Zoom hangs in the sense of where we don't talk about anything heavy. It's just all fun, laughter and games sort of thing. So, you know, I feel that like I get the help that I need from my friends and support system that we've all created together in this Patreon and the community that we're doing, you know, very much so. So I feel that, you know, I'm doing everything I can to stay on top of it, right? Like exercise, eat clean, don't do disruptive behaviors, stay away from toxic people, which is easy in lockdown. But I mean, you know, it's a matter of just every day, just think about the decisions you're making and I try to make good decisions. So should I go to the corner shop and buy chocolate versus should I not? Should I do, you know, it doesn't have to be the big thing.
Sometimes, isn't it?
A little thing. Should I make myself a nice meal that's balanced with vegetables, right? You know, all these good things. Or should I order you know, or should I do this? Should I train or should I sit on my ass? Should I
rational thought. Rational thought instead of like going on the urges.
Simple, logical decisions, not based on instant gratification. People are so used to instant gratification. They want to feel good immediately. We've got to learn to put our roots in discipline. When you are disciplined, you have control over your mind, you have control over your body. And when you do that, these racing thoughts, you're not ruled by your emotions. And I'm not saying that I've mastered it, but God, the difference between me now and a year ago and a year before that and a year before that.
I can say I experienced a similar thing myself. I was working with a hypnotherapist for 4 years to like get rid of the urge of eating chocolate. I used to eat so much, you know. But sort of like the last few months in February, I just sort of like I did this thing. Like I said, okay, no, if I don't eat any snacks for lunch, tick, and then if I don't have Christmas sandwich, tick. And all of a sudden, that was it.
Well,
I did relapse the other week because I went on holiday, but
sugar's a hard thing to give up. But
yeah.
if you give it up for 6 weeks, you will not want it anymore. And there's the thing, I've got some great alternatives if you're interested in sugar. Like, for example, I love sugar and love chocolate. Don't crave it anymore. It's bizarre. I went to, what's it called? What's that health place called? I've done a brain fart, but it's the health shop that's everywhere that you see.
Oh yeah. What is it called?
Anyway, I'll have to in a minute.
Yeah.
You'll see it everywhere, and basically, they've got all kinds of great chocolates and stuff like that. But there's this little, you can find diabetic health shops everywhere as well. And if you don't just get stevia, because you can taste stevia. Get 100% organic stevia. It looks like
writing that down. Organic stevia.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah, okay, writing that down.
100% organic stevia, and it comes in a brown bag, and it looks exactly like sugar. And I swear to God, on my dog's life, tastes the same as sugar. You cannot tell. So now when I put that in my tea, it's like I'll never go back to eating sugar because I can't taste the difference. You
get like a crash. I think it creates cortisol or something in it, like stress hormone or something. Right, I think it's not good for your insulin levels. It's not good for diabetic markers. It's not good. Sugar is cancer. Look at it that way. Yeah. Right? So, just think of that. Associate that word with it. The way I would wean myself off is I would find these shops that are everywhere. They're in every mall. They're in every single mall, and you can get chocolate for diabetics. You can get things, but you've got to be careful because a lot of them have got ingredients. You've got to look at the ingredients. And what I found is that rather than saying I'll never eat chocolate again, just say, well, I'm going to swap my sugar for this, and if I occasionally want some chocolate, get dark chocolate, make sure it's 70% cocoa. You can still have a little bit of dark chocolate is good for you, and you don't have to stop. That's another myth where you're like, well, I can never eat anything bad again. If you completely stop yourself doing something, what's the first thing you're going to want to do? So it'll be on your mind constantly. So it's about gently weaning yourself off. Don't say never, just say, instead of having it every day, maybe I just go down to 3 times a week. And then from 3 times a week, I go down to twice a week, and then maybe once a week. Like I've been vegan, I've been vegetarian, but I do eat meat. I eat meat once a week, instead of eating it all the time. And I'm very aware now of, the fact that I'm leaning more and more back towards vegetarianism again. And just because of the environmental impact and what we're doing to animals and the way we treat them, it bothers me, and I think if people could see how their food is killed, then they would, and I don't think the whole world should I'm not here to say we should all be vegetarian. I'm certainly not, but I think that we can't ignore what's happening around us anymore. So I think as we become more evolved, and we realize what's better for us dietary wise, what's better for us spiritually wise, we have to take care of our bodies physically, our minds spiritually, and our hearts. And, we have to take care of each other and the planet and what we're doing. Absolutely. I think we're probably coming up to the 40 minutes on Zoom. I'm just going to read out like 3 or 4 questions some people have asked. Okay. Baron Leahy from West Herts.
Hi.
What inspired... I got away because what inspired you to sample Kyrie by Mr. which lent itself so well to the tune Divine Rhythm?
Yeah. I just love the song. It's really easy. I love the song, and I thought it just had that arms in the air, euphoric feeling. I mean, whenever you hear that, you just feel like high on life sort of thing. So I think, I've always been into very big, euphoric, big sounding, warm, I love that feeling. And I always thought that would sound good in a rave. So that's what led me to
nice one. I think in Raw, you said something about listening to it in Greece or something, just to sort of cheer you up, sort of Mr. or...
That was a different song of theirs.
Oh,
okay. Take These Broken Wings. Yeah, that was my healing ballad. That was a very healing song for me. I was a huge fan of that band, still am. So yeah, of course, Okay,
I wasn't sure if it's sort of connected or not. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, that was for a different purpose, but yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. And Adam Coville, it's DJ to name it to Adam 360. He says, having been DJing for so long, if you had to choose now which media to play forever onwards, regardless of new releases or unavailability of older tunes, which would you choose, vinyl, CD, or USB digital?
It depends what I want to play. I mean, obviously it's easier to play digital and play on the CDJs and do that. I'm a huge fan of that. I love it. It's so easy and simple. But you can't beat vinyl, and I do love vinyl personally. This is my personal favorite is vinyl. Yeah, that's it. I'm not interested in anything apart from those two formats. So I don't care. I know that there are easier formats, and there's Record Box, and there's Serato, and there's all this stuff, and I just never, it's never interested me because of the way that I edit my tracks. I do all my editing beforehand, and then I just love to play them basically on the CDJs. They're already edited. I don't need to do all that stuff in a program, you know. So I mean, and look, you know what? Not because I don't like it, but I think everyone is familiar with their weapon of choice.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
towards that. Just like, you know, I like Ableton, but other people like Logic, or other people like Cubase, blah, blah, blah. It's apples and oranges, right? I don't think any one is worse than the other. I definitely think vinyl is the hardest, though, and it's my favorite.
Okay. That leads me next into the Neil Baker. He's known as DJ Big Lad. He loves his vinyl as well. Okay. So his question is, what was it like to play at the big events such as Helter Skelter, Dreamscape back in the 90s at the Sanctuary?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, look, you can't beat those days. I feel very, very sad and sorry for anyone who's missed that time period. We were extremely lucky to have been born and experienced that, as far as I'm concerned. So I feel very blessed for that. I mean, there is nothing like it. And I don't think I'll ever have anything like it again, even though I still play at huge events like Boomtown and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you know, I'm not dead. I still play at events. But, you know, but I think that the energy was very different then to what it is now. And having said that, though, after lockdown, I bet you it's going to be friggin' epic, and we're going to see that energy again, because as soon as we're allowed, which we need to be, this needs to end. You know, as soon as we're allowed to like have these big events again, God willing, I think people will never take it for granted again, and they won't be sitting there getting like just monged out. I think we're going to see some of that energy return. That's my hope.
That's what we're hoping. It will just go crazy, and
it was incredible. I'll never forget it, and you know, it would be lovely to have that again. That's for sure.
Yeah, I saw you live once. I think it was late 90s. It was a warehouse near the London Dome, I think, Millennium Dome. I can't remember which one it was. Messy that one was. Yeah. Okay. So from one more from Richard Pinfold. If you had a time machine, what year would you go back to between 90 to 99, and why?
I would go back to my Sony days. So I think I would go back to the year, probably I'd go back to 2000 and start all that again, because I think I would say to myself, if I was younger, like, I took it so seriously that a lot of the time I just worked to death. I would just say maybe have a bit more fun and maybe not work as hard. I know that sounds weird, but I'd sort of work myself to death. And I would have turned and said to yourself, look, you can't take it with you. Remember to have as much fun as possible. And it was very serious and intense working and having a major record deal. And I think that, you know, whereas all of the time before that, I was just having fun. And it was great. And what I realized is the more famous you get, actually, the less fun you can have. Much more fun to be an underground DJ than a mega pop star. And I would not want that
So
at
you
all.
say the really early years, sort of when you're doing the house and the early rave, was it best, you think?
I just think that basically from when I started DJing up until 2000 was the best years of my life. And then 2000 up until, you know, 2000 and like sort of 9 was still pretty amazing, but it was just under a major record label deal. So I wasn't able to just do what I wanted. And you know, I wasn't a cowboy running renegade in a town full of no sheriffs. I was being sheriffed the whole time. So it was like, you know, it was a whole different thing. It's a different thing when you've got a corporate huge label behind you, pushing you, making sure you can't just go out and get twatted and do what you want, you know. It's like that, and that was coincidentally why I had the therapy at the same time, because I had to go almost stone cold sober in that period of time. It was just hard. I had to immediately stop fucking around and become very, very serious. I've got this huge multi-million-dollar, you know, record deal, and all these people have invested in me, and I've moved country. And you know, there's people that are, it was just a very serious time, but still had a good time. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was going to throw this one in there, but real quick, before in Raw, you were talking about when you originally did producing after you've maybe done an acid trip or something. Do you find that like you're producing slightly differently now? I don't know if that, I wasn't going to ask
that way. No, it didn't start like, oh, I did an acid trip and decided, let's get it.
I mean, it's kind of changed now though, the way you produce, the way.
I've never produced that way. No, what I said in Raw was that and no, I've never done that. But what would happen is that I would go out, and you know, I would obviously do my pills, and we'd all rave and blah blah blah, and I would DJ straight, and I cannot DJ on drugs, and never, and I've tried it once, and it was an absolute disaster. I think I played the same record like 3 times.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's hard. But the point is like, I'm talking about pills. You can't DJ because everything is just moving. So what would happen is that, you know, I'd do my set, and then obviously me and my mates would all get twatted, have a great time. And then the next day or the day after, I would go to the studio, and there would still be remnants of that in me. And I think that did help my production in a way, because it was like, you know, I just knew what I wanted to hear, and I knew what would work on the dance floor, and I knew all that stuff. But I think it's a dangerous thing to think that that is what makes you a good producer. You know, so yeah, obviously my productions have changed since I've got sober, and they may be a bit more serious, but they're, you know, I'm absolutely present at what I'm doing, and I feel a bit more authentic now, rather than like, that was lucky I made that track. So yeah, I don't know. I think to a certain degree, I think you have to be in it, and you have to be out, and you have to see raves, and you have to know what's working. But I certainly don't think you need drugs to be a great producer. You know. Do
you think you have to have done drugs at least a couple of times to know? You know, how to produce for that?
I don't know. I can't speak to somebody. There are great producers out there who don't do drugs, and they're amazing. So what's you know, that should answer the question there. Really, I think everyone's experience is different. I think what makes you a great producer is knowing your door inside out, what you're working with, your programs. I know you want. So you need to know that stuff backwards, forwards. You need to really study. You need to work hard. Great producers aren't just great producers. They're great at their social media. They've got everything going on.
Yeah, sure.
You just have to love music, you know, and just want to put great music out. You have to be obsessed by it. What makes you a great producer?
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Is living, breathing, eating, everything.
Yeah.
And it comes first before your relationships. Before, you know, I always know a great producer because this is all they're doing, and but when I hear producers who are like, it depends on what I'm doing with the missus this weekend, or I always know these are the people that won't make it, because everyone I know who has really, really been successful at this, and I mean successful in the way like your name is known by the world.
Yes.
They have sacrificed everything, relationships, everything. It's only later in life that they are able to have a balanced relationship, but still with partners who understand that this comes first.
Yeah.
You know, so when I hear someone say, yeah, well, we could do a studio session, let me see if it's all right with the missus, I inwardly cringe, because I was like, there's no way in fucking hell that I would have to ask someone if I could work on a studio session that I'm shacking up with or dating. No, that's not going to happen. This is my life. This is what I do. It's not my job to fit my big life into your little one. So that's it. If you can't handle that, bye. I'm happy to be alone with you.
Yeah.
So, and that may sound harsh, but that is what it is. Be a successful producer.
You've obviously got the way where you are now, like following that kind of philosophy.
That's just the way it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't treat this as a hobby and hope to be as successful. If you want to make your living off music, then make music your living. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Make music life. You can't have it both ways. I want to earn money off music and do nothing else but music. Okay, do you understand that means you will be doing nothing but music for like 12 hours a day? That most of my day is spent like as if it's in an office, working on social media, video, editing, Patreon. It's not a joke. If I want it to be a hobby, then I'll fuck around all day and I'll toddle off to the studio for a couple of hours, roll a big joint, you know, that's called a hobby. So, you know, and that's fine too. if that's what you want to do. But don't pretend you're going to be a big serious producer and then I have to ask the missus.
Yeah, do other things. Okay, right. I know you kind of had a busy day. Last question. I was just going to say, what's the most craziest record you ever played at an event, and what's been the reaction?
Craziest record?
Yeah.
You
never played like Great Balls of Fire at the end of a set or something stupid like that? Or...
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I've played Metallica at the end of a set, definitely.
So, what's that, sorry?
Metallica. I've done
Metallica.
Yeah, I'll start off with mad intros. In America, I could get away with this a lot more. But I'd do that. I would have a Metallica intro, or I'd have some mental intro that has nothing to do with drum and bass, with live drums or something crazy, you know, like some big intro, whatever. Yeah. Why not? I mean, you've got to do it sometimes. But yeah, no, but in crazy records, no, not really. Don't know about crazy records.
Yeah.
More crazy sets is more what happens. It's just like, crazy sets and mad reactions and played at crazy places and had that. But yeah, typically I'd start with a lot of rock stuff in America because I just like, you know, just start with mental stuff. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I know you said you had a busy day. I'm just wiping my nose.
Only because I have rehearsals for a VIP concert this Wednesday, so thank you so much.
I'll tell you what, it was an absolute pleasure. And sorry I was a little bit late getting going. I thought you were going to email me or something. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being on Well Raver. And and keep doing what you're doing. And we're looking forward to some more of your releases. And
by the way, keep on doing what you're doing. I think it's really cool that you're doing this and helping people. And I know that you're going through your own journey and just being there. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, everything is temporary and we have to really, really try when we're feeling stressed out, just to remember that this is the only time you're ever going to get this moment again, and how you're choosing to have it and live it. You'll never have that again. And one thing I would like to say, which is going to sound a bit weird, but if ever I'm super stressed, what I find really helps me is to lie down and put my hand over my heart and just feel that and feel that love and understand that you are loved and you're not alone, and everyone is going through the same stuff. We're all connected. Everything is connected. There's energy in everything. There's God in everything. And when I say God, I don't mean like kumbaya. I'm talking about the energy that flows through the trees, the plants. If you just spend a minute to listen to that wind or look at that beautiful sky or do that, it will make you feel so much better. So whenever you're feeling like overwhelmed, it's the best bit of advice I can pass on to anyone. It really, really works for me. And, you know, just try to remember to do that, to breathe, and you'll feel better. Okay.
I'm going to plot my next target now. I think I want to slip that on. I know he posts a lot of well-being stuff on his social account. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I tell you what, it's been a pleasure. And I might join your group, actually, on the website.
I think you know, look, I'm not going to lie. For £2.50, it's the best value you'll ever get. I mean, there's obviously other tiers and stuff like that. But we really, really focus on community and that is the important thing. There's a hidden Facebook group just for our Patreons, and you know, the love that is in there daily is just astonishing. So I think it's well worth it. And but you know, that's not for me to sell it. It's for you guys to just discover. I mean, you can always just join for a month see if you like it. But thanks.
Absolutely. Split your random. I'm a half Italian as well, by the way. I thought I just mentioned that. Yeah. Well, and you know, I can't speak it though. My mum's fluent in Italian, but unfortunately they didn't teach it. Can you speak Italian? Or?
I speak Greek, funnily enough.
Oh, Greek, okay.
Italian, I wasn't brought up there, but yeah. Well, it was lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
See you later.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.